There's a kind of arms race going on right now. A really quiet but absolutely massive one among the world's wealthiest people. But here's the thing. They aren't stockpiling weapons. No, they're stockpiling survival. It's this frantic race for the most secure, most remote piece of land on the planet. Basically, a blueprint for how to ride out the apocalypse.
And it really makes you wonder, right? What do they know that the rest of us don't? Are the very people who are shaping our future secretly planning their escape from it? Well, let's unpack that blueprint.
So, welcome to the world of what's being called apocalypse insurance. It's the perfect term for the hundreds of millions being poured into these super secure compounds by, and I love this term from the source material, the Broligarchy, Silicon Valley's tech elite. And make no mistake, this isn't some quirky hobby. This is a whole new asset class.
They have this catch-all name for what they're afraid of, the event. It could be anything, really, a total societal breakdown. And their investment in surviving it is kicking off a very real apocalypse arms race. So let's take a look at the blueprints for these modern-day fortresses.
Okay, Section 2, Billionaire Bunkers. We're going to go inside these real-world fortresses. And listen, these aren't just mansions with a fancy panic room. We're talking about fully self-contained compounds built for one single purpose, to keep on running long after the outside world has completely fallen apart.
What's so interesting here is how you can see four main strategies emerging. You've got Mark Zuckerberg with his brute force dig-a-giant bunker approach in Hawaii. Then there's Peter Thiel's more philosophical lifeboat plan in super remote New Zealand. Jeff Bezos is kind of blending luxury and security on his own private island in Florida. And then you have Larry Ellison, who took the total control approach. He just bought an entire Hawaiian island to make it totally self-sustaining. To really get a sense of the sheer scale of all this, let's zoom in on probably the most famous example, Mark Zuckerberg's massive compound on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. It's known as Koolau Ranch.
First, just try to wrap your head around the size. We are talking about 1,400 acres. To put that into perspective for you, that's roughly the size of 3 of New York City's central parks. Yeah, this isn't just a house, it's practically a private kingdom.
And hidden deep underneath all that land is the main attraction, a 5,000 square foot underground shelter. It's designed to be completely self-sufficient, its own energy, its own water, all protected by huge blast-resistant doors and fitted with multiple escape hatches. The entire project is so secretive that workers have apparently been fired on the spot just for posting about it on social media.
But hey, not everyone's strategy is to just dig down. For some of these guys, the answer is to get away, like as far away as humanly possible. And that has made New Zealand's remote landscape the go-to destination. PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel was one of the first, and he reportedly has a pact with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. If the event ever happens, they hop on a plane together to Thiel's property and just wait for the storm to pass.
All right, Section 3, what are they afraid of? So we've seen the compounds, we've seen the major players, but this all leads to the biggest question of all. Why? What specific fears are driving this colossal multi-million-dollar investment in just escaping? I mean, is it one single predictable threat they're worried about, or is it something more general, a feeling that the systems we all depend on are just becoming way too fragile?
Well, it really boils down to 3 core fears. First, you've got the great AI paradox. The very people creating artificial intelligence are terrified of it spiraling out of their control. Second, in the middle there is the event itself, that vague term for any kind of systemic collapse, whether it's another pandemic or total climate chaos. And finally, on the right, well, that's the fear of social unrest, the fear of the pitchforks, as they call it. What happens when extreme inequality finally boils over?
Which brings us to Section 4, the fatal flaw. Because after all the concrete, all the steel, all the technology, there is one problem that money just can't seem to solve, a fundamental, multi-million-dollar flaw in this whole survival plan. This is the killer question. The media theorist Douglas Rushkoff says he was in a room with a group of billionaires, and this is what they asked him. Think about it. After the world ends, after the dollar is totally worthless, why would your paid security guards keep protecting you from the starving crowds outside?
And this slide just lays out the dilemma perfectly. On the one hand, you have the hopeful option. Build a community, buy loyalty by prepping as a team. But then, on the other hand, you have the more extreme solutions they're apparently exploring, and some of this is truly chilling. Things like bioelectric locks on the food supply that only open for them, or even, disturbingly, discipline collars for the security staff.
So that brings us to our final section, paranoia or prudence. This really gets to the final verdict on this whole trend of elite isolationism. Is this the ultimate act of smart planning from people who can just see the future more clearly than we can? Or is it the ultimate act of paranoia from a group of people who are more and more disconnected from the very world they helped build?
When you get right down to it, what these bunkers really represent is a massive shift in mindset. It's a pivot away from trying to solve the world's problems and toward just insulating yourself from them. The goal isn't to fix the future anymore. It's just to survive it.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty unsettling question to think about. What does it actually mean for all of us when the very people who are building our future are spending hundreds of millions of dollars planning their own personal escape from it?